Yo everybody, my name's Steak and Grace, and in today's video, we are going to learn how to add retriggerable areas that you can use to spawn in title cards for bosses, items, locations, and whatever you want, really. If you are new here, I make Unreal Engine tutorials and videos just like this one, so if you guys want to become better game devs together with me, consider going down and subscribing to the channel, and comment down there on what you think of this video and what you're working on for games. Alright, let's get into the video. Alright, here we are in my kind of junkyard ALS4 template that I do a lot of videos in here. But we are going to get started here. I have already added the images that I'm going to use, and they're right here, so nothing special, just that's one of them and this is the other. I'm now realizing having a title card of myself is kind of arrogant, so roast me, I guess. Anyways, alright, and then, so we've imported those, and we're going to create a title card for a location similar to how they do it in Sea of Thieves. When you approach an island, the island area, then the island title card will start. So it's going to be something similar to that, and that game's also made in Unreal Engine, so good to probably replicate something similar to what they did. So in this video, I'm going to be using interfaces and a HUD blueprint class. So if you're unfamiliar with the two of those, I do have two videos up that will help explain what those are, so that will help you understand what's going on in this video. If you guys want to check those out, feel free to do so and then come back to this video. I will throw the links in the description for you guys. But first things first, we're going to create the widgets that we need. So let's go into our UI folder, and we're going to go into our UI widgets folder. Or whatever the equivalent is in your game there. And we're going to make a new user interface widget blueprint. All right, and we'll just do widget. Let's do a widget blueprint, and we're going to call this guy location title card. You might want to make a different widget based on what it's for, like location or an enemy boss or whatever the case may be. But anyways, in this, we're going to do one for location. So first things first, I'm going to add a canvas panel because this is going to take up the entire screen, and I want to be able to anchor this to a certain position on the screen. All right, and the canvas panel allows us to add multiple children to it, so we don't have to worry about that. We are then going to add what's called a retainer box. I've talked about these before, but this is basically an optimization thing where it limits the amount of draws it does on these UI widgets, and it really improves performance if you have them all the way throughout your project. And then as an added bonus, you can add some materials if you want to them to give them some kind of post-processing effects. So we're going to add this retainer box. To the retainer box, we're going to add an image right there. We're going to name this image location texture, and we're going to make sure this is a variable, okay? And last but definitely not least, we'll add some text. And we'll add the text to the canvas panel, okay? And we'll name the text location text. And this will also be a variable, okay? We'll make sure that's checked off. All right, so just some filler stuff here. So this is going to be dynamically changed, so we're just adding stuff just to get it set. So in the location texture, we're going to come over to image, and we're going to add whatever the texture is for the location title card, okay? And then for the text block, we're just going to add, I'll put Taken Grace's house as the text. Alright, so let's click on the retainer box because we need to anchor it to the top center. And we're going to clear the position X, and we'll add alignment of 0.5 in the X, but leave it at 0 for the Y. We're going to size to content on that retainer box, and we're going to go to location texture. This is where we're going to set the image here. So let's shrink this X down until it fits in this little canvas here. Remember, we can go to desired on screen as well just to see what the actual widget's going to look like, and then we'll just shrink this down till it looks about right. So that's pretty good looking. All right, that's what we want the graphic to look like. For the text, I think we'll just anchor it to the top as well and clear the position X, and we'll center it on the X as well, and then we'll just kind of lower it down here till it's, you know, something like this. Center that guy. This is all preference stuff that you guys will be doing on your own here. I'm gonna add probably red text with a bit of outline. Alright, so once you got all the kind of, you know, design details down that you want in your widget, it looks something like, mine looks something like this. Alright, the last thing we need to do inside our location title card is we need to make an animation for this guy, because we want it to kind of slide down onto screen. So what we need to do is we need to select title card and come down here to animations. We're gonna add an animation, and we're just gonna call it slide. Okay, we'll click on slide. Notice that that blue border just came up. That means that we're editing this widget's animation and not the actual widget's layout. So just keep that in mind. If you see that blue border, that's what that means. We're gonna add something for this widget. I believe, yeah, all named widgets, and this is what we want to select. So this is the entirety of the widget. We're then gonna click on this little plus track and we're gonna add a transform. Okay, next, let's open our transform. We want translations specifically. Okay, we're gonna add a keyframe at the beginning, and then we're gonna change this on the Y, maybe like -600. That'll probably look pretty good. Okay, and then we'll go to like, you know, maybe 1 second or something like that, and we'll make this 0. Okay, I see that is this closed. We'll just add some more keyframes and it'll probably fix itself. We're gonna add another keyframe for the Y here so that it holds this position. Even though it's not holding that position whatsoever. But let's change that there. There we go. Okay. There, so it's holding that position, and then it will go to 5 seconds, why not? And then we'll make it -600 again. Okay, so we play this, it's gonna slide in, it's gonna hold there for 4 seconds, and then it's gonna slide out. Okay, that's what we want. If you wanna make this a bit finer, you can open the curve editor here, and you can see our little thing. You can probably, sorry, you gotta select the thing you're working on here, which is the Y. If you want this to be a bit smoother, maybe we want, this should add smoothness by default because it's on auto. But if you wanna just refine it, like maybe here you wanna add another keyframe, you can just hit enter. And then hold shift and click and then drag, and you can kind of blend this a little bit more so it just has a bit of a slower kind of stop or whatever. So if I get rid of this now and play it in the animations, looks a little bit better. Perfect. Okay, so that's it. Then we're gonna hit compile, and now we're gonna switch gears here. So this is all done. We don't need to do anything else in our widget here. So let's close this, and we're going to open up and we're going to create an event in an interface. I already have one made called BPI UI Update. If you don't have an interface, right-click, go to Blueprints, and make a blueprint interface and name it whatever you need to name it. Mine's BPI UI Update. Okay, we're going to open that up. I have a bunch of functions here already. We're going to add a new function, and we're going to call this function Location Title, I guess. Again, if you're unfamiliar with interfaces, you can check out the video I made, but we're not going to do any scripting in here, but we are going to add 2 inputs, one called the texture, and the type will be a texture 2D object reference, and the outputs, or pardon me, the second input is going to be text. Okay, and we'll just make sure that that is of type text. All right. That's all done. We'll hit compile, and we will close this. We do need to make something in the level that we can interact with that will spawn this title card. So we're going to make that a blueprint actor, and I'm going to put it inside my UI class because it's specifically for UI. It's not going to have anything in it except a trigger box. Okay, so we're going to right click, make a new blueprint class, type actor, and we'll call this location title trigger, I guess we'll call it. All right, so we're going to open that up here. We just need to add a box collision to this. Okay, so there it is. So we're going to set this up in the construction script to give us control over each individual instance of this blueprint, so we can set it based on what the location is. If it's a big island, if it's a small little village, or whatever the case may be. If you want this to be huge, then you can make it huge. Okay, you can also make this a sphere collision if you wanted, if your game is like Islands, for example, like in Sea of Thieves. So yeah, in the construction strip, we're going to drag out of the box here. We are going to set box extent. We're going to drag that in here, and we're going to promote this inbox extent to a variable. And we'll just call this trigger size. And we'll make this instance editable. Hit compile. And now when we place it in the level, we'll be able to dynamically set how big this is. So I think the default, just put like 5, 5, and 5, just so there's something there. And we'll hit compile. Okay. That's it for now. We're going to go into the event graph now. We're going to delete these two. And on event begin play, we need to get a reference to our HUD class. If you're using a like a master widget, for example, like in your UI folder, if you have one widget that has all of your other widgets in it as kind of your like main HUD, you'll want to get that instead. Okay, so we're going to get actor of class. This is how I do it because I'm using an actual blueprint class versus the widget itself. Okay, so we are going to get actor of class, and it's going to be the HUD class for me. Okay, I'll promote this to a variable so I can access its variables later, and I'll call it HUD. All right, so that's all done. Next, let's grab our box. Let's right-click our box and add event on component begin overlap. So once our player overlaps with this, we want to do some things. All right. So the other actor, we're going to drag out of there, and we're going to get is overlapping actor. Okay, and then from other, we're going to drag out, and we're going to get player character. All right. This saves a cast, and we're getting our player character. So this kind of like eliminates the need to couple this together with every single level title trigger in the game with your player. Okay. So we're gonna get a branch and just make sure that it is definitely our player that we're overlapping with before we do anything fun. After that, we need to make a new variable, and this is just kind of a fail-safe, because this technically should be fine without it, but just in case, we're gonna add it. We're gonna add one called inTrigger, and it's gonna be a Boolean. Okay, we're gonna check if we're in the trigger zone. Okay. If we are in the trigger, if we are not in the trigger zone, then we want this to fire. If we're in the trigger zone, and for any reason this fires, this kind of can just be a failsafe to make sure that we don't fire additional events. All right. So in trigger, if we're not in the trigger, we're gonna set in trigger to true. Okay. All right. So after we've added our in trigger, we are going to get our HUD. And we're going to call that interface that we made. So we're going to get, or sorry, not get, what did we call it? Location title card message. That's the one we want. Okay. We're going to plug that in. We are going to right-click both texture and text and promote these to variables. Okay, we'll just make that, put that one there, put that one there, blah, blah, blah. We're going to make sure these are instance editable so we can set them in each individual instance of this trigger to be different. Okay. So that should be it for overlap trigger box. We do want to add another trigger, which will be on component end begin overlap. So once our player ends overlapping with this, we are going to make sure that we can re-trigger this event because we'll have inTrigger set here, right? So, so we'll come out of other actor, we'll get overlapping actor once again, and whoops, that was the wrong one. Or is overlapping? Is overlapping actor, sorry. That's the one you need. And then we'll just drag out of here and plug into other, and we'll get that branch just like before. Okay, so if we exit, we want to just set inTrigger as false. All right, that's all we need to do there. We're gonna hit compile. That should be everything we need to do in this blueprint. We'll just close this for now. Next, we need to work in our HUD class or wherever you guys have your HUD actually doing stuff, whether that's in your player character or what have you. You could also do this in the widget, but I don't recommend it. I recommend doing that in a HUD class. All right, and I'll actually show you why here. So we're gonna open up our HUD class, which is in my UI right here. Okay, so in my game, all of my HUD items are in this. So yeah, you can see it's pretty busy here. I got lots of stuff going on here. But of course, we need to spawn the widget, so I'm going to do that in my widgets to spawn. Okay, I'm going to come out of my sequence here, and I'm going to create widget. There it is. Okay, let's get our location title card, and we're going to promote this to a variable. Okay, and we'll call this guy the location title. Okay. So just so we can access its variables later, then we're going to drag out of here and we're going to add to viewport so that it adds it to the player's screen. All right, after we've added it to screen, we need to hide it because it's going to show up and we don't want that. So we're going to set visibility and we're going to set that to collapsed. So it doesn't take up any space, it doesn't do any draw calls, it doesn't do anything like that. It's just going to be there, taking up space in memory, so it's there and available to us when we need it. Okay, and we're only going to create one of these, and we're going to update it every time so that we don't have to constantly create title card widgets. So, all right, so let's go back to our HUD class's event graph. Okay, this is where you need to implement your interface if you don't have that already. So to do that, you go to Class Settings, find Implemented Interface, and you're going to add, and then find the one you need to add, but I've already implemented it right here, BPI UI Update. All right. Okay, and after you've done that, over here under interfaces, we just need to find that function that we made in there, and it should be yellow because we added inputs. If it's not, that means you should go back to that part and just make sure it's an input and not an output. Anyways, we have implement event here. We're going to implement this event. Okay. Next, we're going to get our location title. Okay, we're going to get the two variables from that particular widget, which were the location texture and the location text. All right. In this, we're going to set these now. So we're going to set brush from texture, and that will be the texture, obviously. And we're going to plug in texture into here. Okay, and the text we're going to drag out of here, and we're going to set text. Okay, and we'll plug text into here as well. A little bit messy, but maybe we'll move this up. Yeah, we'll do that. Sure, why not? Okay, after this, we need to tell the game to unhide it. Okay, so now that we've set these, we're going to set visibility, and we'll set it to not hit testable self and all children because we're not looking to do any hit events with this widget. We only want it to be visible to us. All right, so after that, we are going to grab our location title widget again, and we're going to get that animation we made, which was the slide animation. And we need to just do this because we need to access both of these. We're going to drag out a slide, and we're going to play animation with finished event. Okay, so we're going to do this. And we got to plug location title into the widget, and then our in animation is our slide, okay? After this animation has finished playing for 5 seconds, if you recall, we had it go off screen. So after it goes off screen, we're going to come out of finished, and we're going to get our title card again, and we're going to set visibility back to collapsed. Okay? Just to make sure, again, we're not doing any draw calls when we don't need it, because this is very specific when this comes up. Obviously, we're entering a new area or whatever the case may be. All right, so this that's all the blueprinting done. I forgot to plug in location title there. My bad. There we go. Compile. There we go. All right, we're all good. Now we just need to place it in our level. So we're going to grab our, go in our UI here and going to get our location title trigger. We'll drag that into the level. And then over here is the default things for all the stuff. Trigger box won't work. Oh, pardon me. If you have box selected and you try to do trigger box stuff, it'll reset it to 5, and that's just because that's the default. So we just need to make sure that the location title trigger root is actually selected, and then we can set this to like 500 by 500 by 500 or whatever we want to do. Obviously, you're going to want to set it so that it's encompassing, you know, this whole area. So, you know, maybe I'll make it a bit bigger, maybe like 1,000 by 1,000. And then by 500, it seems like plenty. Yeah, look at that, huge. All right, so there's our title trigger area. Okay, I'm gonna move my starting player back just so he's outside the trigger box. But anyways, once this is selected again, now we can come in and we can select what texture that we want this specific trigger box to do. So I'll do the title card 1, and the text will be taken Grace's house. Okay, and then just for funsies, we'll add a second trigger box over here. I'm just gonna click, just hold Alt to duplicate it, and I'll just move it over here, just for simplicity's sake. And then I'm gonna change the title card to title card 2, and we'll call this Elox layer or something like that. Okay, all right, so we'll hit play, and I'll walk into the trigger box, and that should spawn our little location title card. So there's 3 things I want to point out to you guys here that are issues. So you'll see when I go into Elox layer that our quick use item is actually blocking some of the title card. And then as you can see here, we can kind of cheese this, where we're like constantly leaving and re-entering the trigger zone. So I'm going to show you a couple fixes for that specific problem, but first I'll show you the problem in regards to the quick use item here. So when you go back to your widgets to spawn, on the add to viewport, if you actually bring down and get this ZOrder, this is the order of the widgets in terms of the layers. So pretty much everything I have here is on ZOrder of 0, which is the same layer, but it goes up chronologically. So if I add 1 to this and then retest it, it should put it on top of all the rest of my items on screen here. So that's ideally what you want for a title card. I'm sure it's not as obnoxious as mine. It's probably a little bit more fancier or whatever it is in your game. But anyways, in terms of the cheesing, so there's two ways you can kind of go about fixing that. The first one is in our HUD class. So what you can do is you can add another check right here. So yeah, you'll add a bit of space here. You're going to come out of the slide and you're going to ask it, is animation playing? Okay, and then we'll get a branch. And if the animation is not playing, then we're going to play the animation again, okay? And the target needs to be the widget, so the widget and the animation get plugged in just like it does over here. Okay, so we'll test that out. And now, sorry, the lighting takes a little sec to cook for a sec. There it is. Okay, and I'm just going to try to cheese it again, and I can't because it's playing that animation, but as soon as it finishes and I exit and enter again, it's going to play. Okay, so that's one way to work around it. But an even better way, actually, is going to be in our location title trigger, and the workaround is honestly just to duplicate this box and make a second box and just call it exit box. Okay, in our construction scripts, we can grab the exit box and we can set box extent, and then we're going to come out of trigger size because that's going to be set by the player, or by you, obviously, when you're setting it in your level, and we're going to multiply. And right-click this guy, we're going to make this a float, and then plug in the box extent here. Okay, oh, do I need to make it a float now? There we go, okay. All right, so this will times all three location XYZ fields by the same amount, so you can do this like by 0.5 or 2 even, and then we'll hit compile. Let's go into our event graph. We're going to delete this one because it's the other box that we're ending the overlap on, and we're going to make it our exit box. So add event on component end overlap. Okay, we'll plug this in. We'll plug in other actor to target, and I believe that is all. Yep, that is it. So now if we actually look at our level here, we can see that we have our actual trigger box, which is right here, which is going to start the title card, and then we have this kind of buffer area, so if they happen to just leave the trigger box and do like that cheesing that we did, it won't work because we haven't actually reset the trigger zone there. Okay, so once we actually exit this bigger box, that's when it's going to reset it back and play it again once we hit the inner trigger zone. So we'll just test that out here. So technically, I've just walked out of that big trigger zone, and you can see that nothing happened because obviously it's already set to false for the in trigger boolean. But now once I walk in here and get this, and now we can walk all around here and do our things, and it's not going to re-trigger that splash screen title there. All right. So there you guys go. You have a super cool splash screen just like Sea of Thieves now, and hopefully you'll build on that and make it super cool. And I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. I would like a comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. If I can do anything better, please let me know. I'm always trying to improve my videos for you guys to give you the best content I can. And please like and subscribe if you did like the video. It always helps grow the channel. So if you like me and the content that I make, I'd really appreciate it. All right. See you guys in the next video. If you guys want to learn more, such as like this day-night cycle that I made with lights that turn on and off with its day and night, you guys can check that video out right here. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in that video. Peace.